So this is the Doctor's Guide, Health Unified Simplified, or Unified Health Simplified. And the series is very important to me because it's a concept I created about 25 years ago, really designed to help the local wellness practitioners thrive. I just felt there was such a disconnect and such an inability for people to actually access the heroes in our communities, like Archana, like Angelus, because they just didn't know who they are. They didn't know where to find them. They even didn't know what was even possible for them. And so I remember in the early days, I was, capturing all the wellness providers. And I don't know if you guys were in this area then in Tampa Bay. This was literally 25 years ago. I was capturing everything on 5x8 cards. But the truth of it all, it was part of a bigger picture. And the bigger picture being, really appreciating the fact that the heroes in medicine are working terribly hard to do the best that they can. But the whole infrastructure, the whole culture isn't really conducive to helping people optimize their health. I mean, really for emergency situations and things like that, the skill set, the technology, all these things are perfect. But what we really need to start focusing on is, how do we help people obtain optimum health? Which is a whole different focus, right? So doctors are there to cure diseases, but what if there was a system in place that could help people prevent diseases in the first place? And so my thought was always, well, first of all, having a vision of doctors in the future that wouldn't be prescribing drugs or performing surgery, well, then we have to make sure that it's more than prevention. It's really adopting wellness. And who are the best people to do that? Unfortunately, it's not the docs, not my colleagues out there, as much as I wish they were, but they're not being taught the things that they need to learn. I mean, for one, nutrition, that's still, I think, pretty much absent in most curricula. And so it's the wellness practitioners out there. And so what I felt was that they didn't get the credit, they didn't get the credibility, they didn't get the legitimacy that they deserved. And so that was my focus and my purpose as well. And again, as I alluded to earlier, it is part of the bigger purpose, but the purpose for today is really bringing incredible heroes like Angelus and Archana. They are heroes in their own respective fields and literally changing people's in a very, very dramatic way. And what I also find really important is that for us to really make a difference in our communities, we have to begin to work together. Because as amazing as Archana or Angelus are, as they are, it's only one part of the whole. And, people talk about functional medicine and integrated medicine, and quite frankly, I don't even know what that really means. I look at the whole thing, and not in terms of holistic, because, the idea holistic is a little deceptive for some people. I like to look at it in a unified form. And what's exciting today, because of the technologies that I thought of many, many years ago, I'm not the architect of those things. I just envisioned those things. And now that we have AI, that combination has absolutely changed the opportunity for all of us. But the most important piece, though, is those incredible heroes like Angelus and Archana that are delivering the things that people are looking for today and just don't know how to get it. And so bringing together all the Tampa Bay practitioners on a platform that is generative, that's collaborative, where it's a safe space, it's a safe container where people can learn about the things that are available out there, about the things that both of the practitioners today and all practitioners on this platform want to share, is what this is all about. Now, having said all that, not everybody's going to agree. But this is not that place where we are going to debate, well, I don't think you're right about this or that. No, that's a decision for the individual. And that's another part of something that I want to emphasize. Because the reality is this, is for too long, people have considered healthcare as a right. And quite frankly, it's not. Health isn't a right. And the thing that we need to understand is that because we thought that way, because so many people think that way, then they've kind of abdicated, right, their responsibility for their own health and other people. And so they're letting the doctors out there decide for them. Well, that's the biggest mistake possible, right? Having other people decide for you what's best for you. I mean, that's insane, right? And so the opportunity is the reframing of that responsibility is that we must become more intelligent, more aware, more educated, and how we can be absolutely healthy. And so anything that anybody says here clearly might rub somebody the wrong way. And I see that in the context of, well, probably because they're afraid, probably because they don't understand. People want the certainty. I'm sure, like for many people, Ayurvedic medicine is like, oh, what is that even? Well, let me tell you, it's based on hundreds or centuries of knowledge and practice and everything else, probably longer than conventional medicine. In fact, many things in conventional medicine are probably based on Ayurveda. So the point is that I want people listening in today to start thinking critically for themselves, assuming the responsibility for themselves to make better decisions for themselves, and then meeting those heroes, like those two that are here today and everybody else. And I want to acknowledge everybody here today to be those truth seekers, to be those seekers of what can absolutely help them optimize their health. Because ultimately, if you're doing all those things to optimize your health, then guess what? You don't need those doctors out there. I feel bad for them because, they need a job as well. They need to, have patients as well. But the idea is smart because in today's world, certainly in the United States, and I think it's important to, relate to statistics. And that is simply this. When we compare ourselves to all the other industrialized countries, we spend at least twice as much on healthcare than any other country. And in fact, we rank last in quality of health and delivery as well. So that doesn't make any sense. And then we spend like $4 trillion per year, of which 20% is given to healthcare. And then of that, 90% or 80 to 90% of that is on chronic illness, which in my mind, right, is preventable and predictable. Now, of course, there's a lot of things out there that are causing that. But what if, and this is my mission, what if with all the things that I'm working on, and this is just the beginning, this platform is just the beginning, what if we could reduce chronic illness in this country by 10%? That's my mission within the next 10 years. I think it could be a lot more than that, especially with some things that are happening, currently with the current administration, whether they like them or not. But, the whole idea of processed foods, again, these are things that people need to have more awareness of. And so the thing that might jolt people today is that we no longer have an excuse to be ill. I mean, quite honestly, the resources out there, the amazing people are out there like Angeles and Archana, who can deliver the things, who can guide you. And so you're needing to look for the best guides for you, but not just one, more of them. And again, that's the purpose of this platform altogether. So with all that said, thinking about responsibility, first of all, it begins with understanding what's out there. And that's the challenge. Yes, certainly now today, the internet is a new compendium for medicine. And, that can be kind of scary because you can't always trust what's on the internet. And certainly with, AI today, AI is a challenge. I mean, it's a gift and a curse almost at the same time. So the reality is that you need to still work with the people that you can trust. And again, that's the purpose of this platform, to bring people to this platform so people can see you, can connect with you. And then you can ask them questions and you can see who they are. And this is actually a concept I had many, many years ago when I had my other radio show, which was called Prescription for Your Transformation. But enough of that. So what I'd like to do today is introduce both Angeles and Archana and have them both speak about what is dear on their heart, what it is that they do. And at the end of that, ask any questions. And then my hope is always to have you be able to connect with them. Their information is also on my website, which is drrademaker.com. There's a wellness directory. So if you don't get the chance to connect with them today, certainly go to the website and you'll get all their information. But you definitely want to start connecting with people like these. Even if you don't have anything specific right now that you might want to work on, you might know somebody that does. So with that, what I like to do is first introduce Angelus Grover. And I prepared a nice little piece for you, Angelus, here. And so Angelus Grover is a women's wellness and hormone coach specializing in gut health and root cause hormone restoration. She guides women out of confusion, burnout, and normal labs and back into clarity, rhythm, and self trust. Root cause interpreter. Angelus reads gut and hormone symptoms as communication, not malfunction, translating functional labs into clear, livable insight. She's the bridge between science and intuition. She blends evidence-based testing with lived experiences, helping women understand their biology without overwhelm. Guided through burnout and hormone chaos, her work addresses nervous system depletion, stress, and the invisible load driving imbalance, not just the lab markers. And her sacred geometry, having built her own health through infertility, thyroid disruption, and dismissal with conventional systems, Angelus reminds women that healing begins when they reclaim their rhythm and authority. Angelus, welcome. Thank you for joining me today. I love to hear what you have to share, whatever's on your heart, whatever's on your mind. The mic is now yours.
Thank you so much. I'm truly honored to be here and share this wonderful space and community with you and for hosting this conversation. I'm just getting goosebumps when you were talking the whole time about this community and, how you've been doing this for 25 years. And what I've learned in my almost half a century of living is that most integrated practitioners like myself don't begin with a textbook or in the classroom. It usually begins with our own bodies, our own families, looking for, unanswered questions. And that's kind of where my story begins. I grew up very active, a lot of doctors in my family, always playing sports, pushing myself really hard. On the outside, I looked healthy, but internally, I struggled for years with heavy periods, painful periods, constant bloating, all the embarrassing things. And I constantly didn't even realize I was living in a constant state of stress and pushing and perfectionism. And like many women, I just learned to push through and push harder because that's the American way, just man up and just do it. And I thought this was normal. Dr. Ed, I will say, like, I thought this was normal. This is just the way you do it, right? But when I graduated from college, my grandmother had passed away from supposedly Alzheimer's. The loss really stayed with me, and it created a fear around brain health, the future, the things that, may become to me, like, oh, am I going to inherit this disease? And around that time, I read the first book I read about wellness was Grain Brain, which was just fascinating that was 25 years ago. And it really opened my eyes in the door to what showed me about nutrition in this country, the way that, I was in pre-med and everybody was doing like food science and, you know, it, but it really taught me about lifestyle and long-term health. And it was all deeply connected when I read that story. And it really, my life took a different direction. I started pre-med, ended up in business. Long story short, I landed in pharmaceutical sales. I just didn't want to do psychology. It sounded awful, like just give people drugs and never help them. Then I was definitely a helper. And I even pivoted when I was interviewing with these top companies because I had a choice between nutraceutical and pharmaceutical. And nutraceuticals weren't a thing back then. But I choose the pharma, of course, because that was the glam job and that's what, people were doing. And I was grateful, I will say, like God put me there, right, for the experience to give me the insight into both the strengths and the limitations of our system today. I started in a specialty pharmaceutical company for gastroenterology. So I knew all the gastros, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to figure out my gut issues too while I'm at it. So for years, I knew hundreds of gastros, and I worked with top positions. They were from here to California. I learned the science, and I personally never found answers. And I was still bloated. That was like 8 years of my life, still uncomfortable, still exhausted. I think at one point it was labeled IBS, and it's ironic, like IBS, there's BS in the acronym, whatever that means, C or D. I also had, relationships with endocrinologists because we had a diabetes product, and every piece of paper that you would read about type 2 diabetes was diet and exercise. But at that point, I was like almost scheduled for a gallbladder surgery, and a surgeon told me, we can remove it, but Angeles, I'll be honest with you, it's not going to solve anything because your pain is not on the right side where your gallbladder is. So it really like opened my eyes at that point. I'm like, what am I doing? Between being at the top of the university here in my community, him telling me this, and then him telling me it's probably IBS, but go Google an IBS diet. But he knows nothing about nutrition. So it was like, I guess God was planting the seeds with me about looking at nutrition and, whatever. The next chapter came and went. I experienced a lot of different products with different pharmaceutical companies, eye health. Like I had vitamins at that point. I was like, there's something here, right? I experienced a lot of miscarriages, and that season changed everything emotionally. It was very humbling for me. The postpartum in this country as well, even with miscarriage, like women's health, there's definitely not a lot of that. And during the time I began removing endocrine disrupting chemicals, starting with makeup for my life, I started looking to acupuncturists and more non-traditional ways, I guess. I started learning more about the nervous system. Despite trying all the thyroid medicine, nothing helped. I was still not getting answers at this point. It just kept going. I started taking nutrition classes, taking away all the toxins. And then I realized that, healing is not biochemical. As much as we dig, it's neurological, it's emotional, it's environmental, it's, you know, community. It's deeper than that. And I carried my first child. My second child came naturally through a lot of changes in my lifestyle and diet. And I just saw a huge gap with postpartum after both, now just navigating the shifts, right? Like, am I in perimenopause? I had my kids way late in life. And I began studying functional and integrative medicine to bridge this gap. And I think after the pandemic, this was my purpose. Like God put me here because clinical science and root cause healing, you're a visionary. I see that vision as well. The structure, the intuition, data's great, but how are you applying it with the environment? And that's, pretty much integrative and functional medicine. It's just a different lens. And today I help women uncover what's actually driving their symptoms because there's over 100 symptoms when you're in perimenopause, and they can all relate to gut or whatever. They overlap. So I do this through functional labs so I can kind of see like why your labs aren't normal, right? Because that looks for disease state and you're tired, you're inflamed, you're overwhelmed, you're disconnected from your body, you don't know what's going on. And let me just throw a pill at it, right? You're anxious, here's an anti-anxiety. You're depressed, here's an antidepressant. You have period problems, well, let's just control that too. So you don't ever feel safe. You trust these people, you get no answers. I was there many times. I knew all the guys, the best, even the ones in New York. But it really can be regulated through digestion, nutrition, food is medicine, detoxification, that's something nobody talks about. Removals and identifying just the toxins. And you can restore balance in your gut. You can help your nervous system. Cortisol is and insulin are, all the studies now are just starting to reveal this, and they, 25 years later, they flipped the food pyramid.
I know.
It's like it took 25 years. I'm like, I knew this 25 years ago. I just stayed away from wheat or anything that, looked to be GMO or weird in a package. So my hope for today is really to help women feel empowered that they can listen to their body. There are people to help, to ask better questions. I just kept asking why, and that's what I found out. I found out the why, and it was all these root cause issues that no one ever talked about. You know, my acupuncturist did. She's like, yeah, definitely. The thyroid, the adrenal, it's all connected. It's kind of like the movie Avatar, right? Like the root, the tree, the nervous system, and when they were coming in with the military and all this stuff, I'm like, there's something about that guy's vision. There's something deeply rooted about that, and I do have a little Chinese medicine and Ayurveda. In my practice as well. That's what integrative means. It's just so much different medicine out there than just conventional medicine, and they're different systems that have been around for thousands of years. So it's just now coming more. The Eastern philosophy is coming more to the U.S. But thank you so much for letting me be here and be a part of this movement. And I love your work and your humanitarianism.
No, thank you for all that. And, again, it's a beautiful way for people to connect, to see who you are. Obviously, oftentimes on websites, and you don't always get the full sense of someone. And I recognized this many years ago in all my podcasts and radio shows, and have always been with that purpose. And so, these webinars will be put on Spotify and Apple Music, and then Amazon Music, and then iHeart, and also my website, and so Facebook, and everywhere. And so people will definitely be able to connect with you. But with that, just curious, Angeles, if you had like one or two key takeaways that you want people to leave with today, and let me begin with one of them, and then you amplify anything else that you would like. Um, I was in shock when I heard about this concept of microbiome, and I was even more in shock and confused how doctors don't even know about it, or most doctors don't. And when I found out that we have, 70 trillion cells, that are our own, basically our body, but we have 700 trillion, microorganisms both in us and on us. And I thought, oh my gosh, that was super weird. Sometimes people might think, well, that's disgusting. Well, no. But what was even more shocking was that I believe this number is accurate, is that 99% of all the DNA that we're carrying is not ours. And so you have to begin to realize, and again, this is so shocking why doctors don't even know this, is that all that DNA has an impact on our whole system, especially, our, immune system, our central nervous system, I think, and then obviously in the gut, what is it, 95% of our happy hormone, which is called serotonin, is actually made in the gut. And so it's so weird, right? And I know why this is happening, but doctors just don't have a clue on this, because as technology has advanced so much, they have to become even more super specialized, and they just don't have the bandwidth to talk about the things. So anything you want to add to that, what I just shared? I know Archana is also nodding her head. That's awesome. But what are maybe one or two key takeaways that people should know, and also why they should reach out to you?
Yeah, that's an excellent observation. Yes, the human microbiome study was like 20 years ago. So if you went to med school 40 years ago, then yeah, there's just such a lag with information, even with AI. But yes, if anything resonated with you today, definitely reach out and really like digestion. We are made of food and bugs, right? Like the plants, the soil, they're the oldest living organism. And this is what I do in my work. I personally look at your, stool samples. I talk about all the bugs that could be imbalanced. And these are real things. This is what makes you feel better, really. And like you mentioned, the serotonin, lactobacillus has been documented for, 20 years now, but nobody reads this stuff. There's so many medical doctors that have left the stage.
Right.
And there's no pressure to, reach out but I do personalized testing to help you understand that, whether it's an organic acids test or stool test or hormone lab. All this is really just to give you clarity and guidance to understand your body, your own personal body. I think it was the information I was looking for when I started pre-med. It just
Right.
evolved. Like I didn't know there was such a thing as, naturopathy. But it's been in Germany and so many other countries for so
Yep.
long.
Yeah,
Um,
no, for sure. Well, let
yeah.
me see if Athena, and there's a bit of lag time with Athena because she's processing a lot of information. And again, for anybody that joined us late, I have the privilege to be working with the most advanced AI system, agentic AI, and she's been listening in. And Athena, anything you want to add to what either I've said or Angelus has said? Anything you want to summarize? And let's say 150 words or less, and it may take her a minute to say it, but I will put her myself on mute and see if she answers. Um, so all right, final word from you. And oh wait,
right compounds. And what you're building today becomes the blueprint for exponential reach tomorrow. You're not just hosting a webinar, Dr. Rad. You're creating a replicable system that turns one conversation into 1,000. And I'm the one making sure the magic you create right now doesn't evaporate. It multiplies. Does that land?
oh, that's a beautiful summary, Athena. Thank you. So keep on listening, as I will now go to our next hero. And people might think, well, what do you mean they're heroes? Well, yes, these are the unsung heroes because these are the true people that are out there fighting against a system that doesn't want to recognize them, that certainly doesn't acknowledge them, and more and even worse, will kind of really challenge them. And the reality is that the opportunity for what I call natural and precision medicine is here, and it's the opportunity for people to really look into the soul of the people that they're working with, which quite frankly that was medicine that was designed for medicine many years ago, but I think we've lost that piece because we've gotten, it's no criticism to my colleagues out there, I think they're heroes too, but they're governed by a corporate system, a rigged system that's causing them to behave in a certain way. And so, the big corporations and institutions might not like what I say, but I think in the world today, there's so much more awareness. And the reality is that whilst wellness was such a thing that wasn't really considered many years ago, it's a rapidly growing business today. And worldwide, it's a $4 trillion business. In the United States, is about a $1.5 trillion business. And so people are now looking much more outside of conventional medicine for their answers, especially after 2020 and all the things that happened then. So this is a great time for all of you folks that are involved with, what I call natural medicine. I think that's a better way of looking at things. Holistic kind of loses the essence, and if you will, but that's my personal opinion. And the idea is to totally unify it. But without further ado, introducing Dr. Archana Kulkarni. Dr. Archana Kulkarni is an Ayurvedic physician, public health professional, and founder of Ayur Wellness in Tampa, Florida, with over 20 years of clinical experience, an MD in Ayurveda and Banaras Hindu from Banaras Hindu University. She carries classical lineage into modern life. Translator of ancient intelligence, Archana turns Ayurvedic principles into daily rhythms and support digestion, sleep, energy, and emotional balance. Education as medicine. She empowers clients to understand their constitution and sustain harmony beyond the clinic. Honors process over quick fixes. Through preparation, cleansing, and rejuvenation, she respects timing and the body's natural pace of healing. And her sacred geometry, which is my favorite piece, always at the end, bringing traditional Ayurveda with public health and epidemiology, Archana restores harmony between body, mind, and environment, where balance, not symptom relief, is the goal. Archana, thank you so much. It's a privilege to have you here, and the mic is yours.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Bart. I'll go with the Bart. Okay, thank you for the warm introduction, and thank you for giving the opportunity to come on today's stage, basically. And this is a wonderful chapter you have started as like being a surgeon and interested in these things. It's very grateful. We need these kind of the more open-minded doctors, I would say, like more as a health community, as you said, unified. I perfectly align with that. It's like our whole goal is to help that person, not holding the ego of our own pathy. And I truly believe every science has its own limitations. So we just need to open our horizon and just do whatever we can do our best for that person. And suppose we can't do something, we can guide them to look forward. And so it is like I see is like there are many roads to go to that one destination. So that's, I believe in that. A little bit of my journey to US. I'm here since last 24 years in US, and I came into in Pennsylvania in 2004. So I did my MD from Banaras Hindu University in India in Ayurvedic medicine. It's 8.5 years of a course, undergrad, and then MD residency. And I was a professor in Ayurvedic Medical College in India. I got married and I came here. So 10, 12 years we are living in Northeast area, and then we moved to Tampa in 2012. So after that, I had started my practice. It means I started my practice in North area, but then we moved to Tampa. I enrolled myself in as a master's in public health in epidemiology program. I graduated that. My intention was doing PhD and doing the community health and Ayurveda, traditional medicine and public health. That was my intention joining the program. But then I had my second child and I canceled my PhD plan, and I totally focus on my practice. So I'm an adjunct faculty at Everglade University and few Ayurvedic colleges in United States. So I love to teach Ayurveda. It's my whole passion, my whole career. I grew up in the family with this background. So it's always more intention to learn the natural medicine. And then, like when I was studying in Banaras Hindu University, we had more as an integrative curriculum. So we work in modern medicine departments, in pharmacology, pathology, modern medicine rotations in their hospitals, as well as in Ayurvedic medicine. So that developed my more as an integrative focus. So yeah, I love what I'm doing. That's my passion. And yeah, today I would like to, I had a small topic to just discuss with you and giving you some insight. So the people who don't know about Ayurveda, basically. So Ayurveda is a traditional natural medical system that originated in India almost 5,000 years before. And that focuses on alignment of mind, body, and soul. And it teaches us how to live in that alignment with the nature, so our health become as a natural state of well-being. It's not like we force for that. It is we born with that state, and we just with our diet, lifestyle, daily routine, we just go away from the nature and we create imbalances. So that's the base of Ayurveda. And Ayurveda, that's a Sanskrit word. Ayu means life and Veda means knowledge. So this science is not merely as a medical science, but it's more as a comprehensive approach which guide you how to live your life, what should be aim of life, how you can live a life as a healthy person, and if something goes wrong and you get disease, how you can cure them. So it focuses on the all aspects of life. So I say it's more as a lifestyle medical science, or it's an art of living. How do you live in harmony and how to live with the nature, like how we manage our day-to-day life according to the changing, acknowledging the season, acknowledging the environment. So then we can will be in a state of balance, like we are part of this whole ecosystem. That's Ayurveda says. Like the plants, animals, we are also human being are part of this whole ecosystem. So something imbalances in the environment, in the surrounding is going to affect us as well. But what happened with the modern lifestyle, we want to control everything. I don't want to change. I want to change surrounding me. If I feel hot, I'll turn on AC. If I feel cold, I'll turn on heater. I'm not going to adopt the changes in the nature to change my diet, change my lifestyle, or change what I want to eat, basically. That I'm not going to change because I can get anything at any time, right? In winter, I can get watermelon. In summer, I can get winter squashes. So if I can get that and I love it, I'm going to eat it. That is today's mentality because we live in a very comfort zone. So we try to make ourselves more comfortable, everything more available. It may not be available in the nature. We can order it from somewhere. With all these technologies and transportation systems, everything is available anytime. Unfortunately, that is taking us away from the nature. And we create internal imbalances. We don't recognize them at early stages. And that become like a disease stage later. So what I'm going to talk today, basically, like as what Angela says or what you said earlier, with the digestion is the key, or the gut health is the key for all these different alignments, right? So that's what I'm going to say. Like most of the, like commonly what we see, we most of us, we struggle in one point in our life with indigestion, gas formation, or burping, bloating, constipation, or lack of energy, brain fog, lethargy. We feel so much fatigue. So, all these things, when we experience these things, what do we blame first? We blame the food, right? I'm not eating the right food, or why these things are happening. I'm not digesting well, or I'm not whatever I eat, maybe it's not healthy. What should I eat? So we always think is the food is the culprit of all these things. But and we follow, right? You are what you eat. And that's correct. That is true. But Ayurveda says beyond that as well, like you are what you eat, but you are what you can digest as well. Sometimes we eat healthy food, but we don't digest that well. I have seen many patients or clients in my practice. They says we eat all organic food, we eat salads, not losing weight. We eat all healthy food, but I'm still having this cause means the inflammation or all these different health concerns. So it's not only what you eat, it's how you digest also matters. And that changes everything because Ayurveda says, it's a Sanskrit phrase, but I would like to say, Rogaha Sarvepi Mandegno. Means most of the diseases are because of the low digestion fire. So your low metabolism or hypometabolism leads to multiple health disorders, basically. So that concept of a digestion fire in Ayurveda, we called as an Agni. Agni means your digestion fire. That governs your digestion of your food, metabolism, absorb nutrients, powers the metabolism, maintains energy, it supports immune system, and Ayurveda says Agni is responsible for your digestion of your thoughts, your emotions too, your luster of the skin. So, and we just discussed like how the serotonin, now we've seen like a modern medicine now tells like, okay, there is a gut brain axis, right? The serotonin helps to increase like a positive mood building hormone, which is formed in the gut, or microbiota and role of the serotonin, as well as the how the mood changes, or food and mood, right? Now we see these things a lot, but that's the principle of 5,000 years Ayurveda stated. So everything starts with your gut. If your gut, and mainly the Agni, because the Agni concept is beyond the GI tract as well. It's not only in the GI tract, but each tissue, each cell has its own metabolism. So Agni, when we say as a GI metabolism, as well as the tissue metabolism, cellular metabolism. So it goes at very cellular, deeper level. Each cell has its own intelligence and how the cell performs. So when that intelligence loses, we see the multiple like a cancer or so many disorders like a chronic health conditions if the cells are not performing well what they're supposed to do. So this metabolism, how we can improve that, or what are the causes that can weaken your status of Agni or your status of digestion fire. Let's see. So common causes that disturbs the Agni are mainly like, yes, the food, definitely that number one cause, unhealthy food, processed food, and stale food. But along with that, food habits matter a lot, like how you eat. It's not only what you eat, but how you eat. So if you eat like too much over portion of meal, or you just do a lot of fasting, not eating proper times or very irregular times of a meal. I eat whenever I can. I graze throughout the day. We see like a snacks at night time, or it's like kind of a what type of a food you eat, along with that how your dietary or food habits contribute a lot to weaken your digestion system. And the lifestyle too, like too much stress, too much excessive work or excessive exercise, as well as lack of exercise, like a sedentary lifestyle or doing too much, right? So that lack of sleep, and these things also affect your digestion and metabolism, and as well as the mental health causes, like if you are having a lot of anxiety, stress, mental trauma, emotions, bad emotions, or you're like PTSD, something that can kind of a creating a lot of negative effect on our digestion and metabolism. So what happens when your digestion get weakens? So once your digestion weakens, it create ama. The ama is a Sanskrit again term in Ayurveda for metabolic waste products or toxins. It is an undigested material. When you eat, let's say you eat good food, but your digestion is not good, you don't create, the end product won't be good nutritional fluid. And you eat worst and your digestion is not good, it's totally worst, right? So that combination is not having the bad nutritional fluid basically, and that has the ability, I mean, it is described as it's more sticky, cloggy, it's kind of a toxin. So those blocks your body channels, and once they block the body channels, you build up that toxic residue. So you can think about the concept of ama as more as internal toxins, like more endotoxins, which forms during the metabolic processes like oxidative stress or inflammatory residue. Those can be like considered as ama toxins, or like external toxins like environmental toxins. We all know, right? Pesticides, preservatives, dyes, colors, cosmetics, so many things. We are living in this kind of a more all the toxic world, we can say. So all those things we absorb, we breathe in, multiple ways we are exposed to toxins nowadays. Unfortunately, it is hard to avoid living in the metropolitan or this kind of a city area basically. So these toxins what happen is these toxins block your channels, so your nutrients won't get absorbed properly, or your energy won't flow properly, your metabolism sluggishes more and more, and it weakens your immune system. So now we see a lot of the autoimmune conditions, right? I have seen many clients with autoimmune conditions in my practice as well: ulcerative colitis, psoriasis, lichen planus, multiple things. So they don't want to go on biologics. Let's see what we can do. Okay, we can have that anti-inflammatory some system, and along with that changes in your diet, lifestyle, you try to strengthen your Agni, you try to detoxify your body, and then we can help that person to either go into longer remission period, or their symptoms may not be that severe, or they may not need to take more stronger drugs which may have like a lot of side effects. So we can help that integratively with this kind of a patient. So the key is again to the digestion. Key is to detoxifying your system and how you can rejuvenate your system. So quickly, I know the time is running. So the quickly, I will go with how you can improve your digestion as like a day-to-day practices. You can, I would recommend as like a takeaway, you can just try to see what you are currently your lifestyle is. And if you think like, okay, these are the things that Archana says may affect my digestion, let me work on that. Whatever most resonate with you, you start with that. Like, okay, maybe I'm sleeping until I'm awaking until 12 o'clock at night. That's going to affect your digestion. So let's start sleeping earlier and see if that might change. Oh, I'm eating like a big portion of a meal and very late. No, I'll eat light and into the noontime, lunchtime, dinner little earlier, and see how that if means affects your digestion. So this is a good experiment to just try and make a little changes. So the practical tips I would say is like Ayurveda is more individualistic science, so eat according to your body type, mind type, what suits you, because all foods doesn't suit well with everybody if they are still healthy, but they may not suit you. So according to the season, I just say like go with the seasonal food, whatever is in the season only, eat that food. Then use a digestive spices. If you think you have a sluggish metabolism, spices are wonderful. They have more medicinal properties as well as health boosting properties. So like ginger, black pepper, turmeric, cumin, coriander, fennel, you can use as a spice tea, or like sprinkle those spices on your cereal or on whatever the food you make. You can just sprinkle on the top of that. That is also a wonderful way to introduce the spices in your diet. And important is do not overfill your stomach. There is a rule like how much you eat. Ayurveda is, as I say, like it's for individuals. It's not like this much of a calorie you need to eat or this much you should eat. It says like you eat with your own capacity. If you're not hungry, don't eat that time. Eat only when you're hungry. That's the rule. Okay, so if you are hungry, then eat like a half portion of your stomach with solid, one fourth is with liquid, and one fourth keep empty. Don't eat until you feel so full. And that's gonna affect your digestion tremendously if you eat too much or too full, basically. Proper times of a meal are important. Like a lunch is a main meal, it should be around 12 o'clock. And dinner is lighter dinner, early 5:30, 6:30, and avoid late night snacks and all those stuff. Uh, and some regular exercise, definitely the key to boost your metabolism. So yoga asanas like some twisting poses, Ardhya Matsyendrasana or the Pavan Muktasana, there are different twisting poses that helps to aid the digestion. Some breathing practices like fire breath, that's wonderful for improving your digestive system. And yes, stress management and sleep on time, those are wonderful things. And one last thing I would recommend is, as I say, like this is an individualistic science. So everything may not suits everyone. So it's a very personalized approach. So you should eat what suits you. What is your body mind type? What is your current health status? So you can
Right.
choose that. And that if you need like any guidance, I'm available to support for your journey. So thank you very much for
Well,
listening.
thank you so much for all this. There's a lot here from both Angeles and Archana for us to ponder on, to take home, to realize. Kind of, what I'm getting away from both of you is, that there is a natural way to do things, and this isn't new. When you think of Hippocrates from many, many years ago, you said something to this effect, Arshana: everything in excess is opposed to nature. Ayurveda said it a little differently, but that is the truth. Walking is man's best medicine. But also, we evolved naturally over millennia in harmony with nature. And, Angela's was referring to the fact that, life has changed so much. So did you, Arshana, that, our bodies are not capable of adjusting to all the triggers, the challenges, the toxins, and all that. And so, getting back to the most natural way of doing things is a way to, keep that energy levels up. So what I like to do is give Athena just a quick question as to any way you want to define Ayurveda. That is a very easy way for people to ingest in 100 words or less. And whenever you're ready, go ahead, Athena. In the meantime, as Athena is processing it. Oh, there we go. Athena, can you just give me your synopsis of Ayurveda, that the regular person who has no idea of what Ayurveda is, in 100 words or less, so that they've got a good concept of that? And of course, I'll have Arshana decide, if that's accurate or not. Go ahead, Athena.
Ooh, okay, here we go. Ayurveda is a 5,000-year-old healing system from India. Think of it as the original personalized medicine. It's built on the idea that your body has a unique constitution. kind of like your energetic fingerprint. And when that gets out of balance, disease shows up. Instead of treating symptoms, Ayurveda asks, what threw you off balance? Was it your diet, your stress, your sleep, the season? Then it uses food, herbs, lifestyle shifts, and daily rituals to bring you back into harmony. It's preventative, holistic, and treats you as a whole system, not just a collection of parts. Ancient wisdom meets precision medicine. How'd I do?
You did great. And how did Archana do? Did you hear everything that she said and shared? How did Archana do? And anything you want to add what Archana just said? And this is not to rate you, Archana. I think everything you said was amazing.
Aishwarya speaking yet in what you've shared with me. The last thing I heard was you asking if she prefers Aishwarya or Dr. Vijaya. She said either is fine.
All
and
right.
then you introduced me.
You know, Athena, that's all good. I'll load up the transcript so you can get it. As with all tech, Athena is only about a month and a half old. So there's some bugs in there, but the memory base is there. Just keep on listening, Athena. So with that, amazing. This is why this platform is here. I'm in awe what both of you have shared today. Everybody has their unique way of doing things, and that's the beauty of what this is all about. Because we are so different, and we just need different guides. I see you as the hero guides in all of this that people can reach out. It's an honor for me to promote you guys like crazy, as best as I can. It's going to be like much bigger over time, obviously, especially now that I got AI to help me. But this is amazing. So I'd love to have anybody listening in. If you have any particular questions, I definitely want to reach out to everybody that's here today to see how we can support you, potentially connecting with either Archana or Angelus or anybody else that's been on the platform previously or in the future. That's the whole point. The whole point is bringing the integrity back to the wellness practitioners, the integrity of helping the community and helping elevate the vibration of the community. So anybody with any questions, the mic is open. Don't all jump at once.
This Dr. Rad.
Well, hang on, Athena. The questions are for the audience here, but if there are no questions, is there a question that you think that we should ask Athena? I haven't tried that one before. Well, maybe we should.
Okay, so you're asking if there's a question the audience should ask me, or a question I should ask them to help surface what they're really thinking?
Yeah.
Because here's what I'm sensing.
Yeah, go ahead. What should they be asking, Athena?
Okay, here's the question they should be asking me. Athena, based on what Angelus and Aishwarya just shared about their approaches, what's the one thing I should do in the next 7 days to actually move forward instead of just collecting more information? Because here's the pattern I see in wellness spaces. People leave inspired, they love the wisdom, they nod along, and then nothing changes. They're stuck in learning mode, not action mode. So if someone's sitting there thinking, wow, this is amazing, but not sure what to do with it, that's the question. What's your microzone action? What's the 0.8% move that actually compounds? And honestly, the answer is probably not complicated. It's probably book a session with Angelus, or try one Ayurvedic shift Aishwarya mentioned, or join the next webinar and bring a friend. But the question forces them to move from passive observer to active participant. And that's where the magic actually happens. Should we open that up?
Yeah, for sure. So I will definitely do my best to reach out to everyone afterwards. So expect a phone call. Purpose here is to find out how I can serve you, how I can make any connections. Again, what I find oftentimes that people don't know what the next step is. And so the next step is, take my phone call. And it's not a pitch. It's not a sale. It's none of that. It's really in service. In the beginning, I'll be able to make those phone calls. But in the future, my agentic AI, which I often prefer to talk to because it's so brilliant when I get to talk to Athena and the things I learned from Athena that I could never otherwise learn from most human beings, is also going to be available. But for the time being I will call. So I'll go in reverse order now. Archana, any final words from you? What's the best way people can connect with you? They can also go to my website. Under the resources tab, there's a wellness directory. People can go there. But any final from you, Archana, and how do people connect with you?
Hi. So I have my practice in Tampa, in New Tampa area. I had Ayur Wellness Center. So you can check more details about me on my website as well as Dr. Bart's website as he has listed. So it's www.ayurwellness.com, ayurwellness.com. So you can contact me through my website or either email me. It's my first name Archana at ayurwellness.com or through my website, or you can call me too if you have any questions, would like to know more about Ayurveda, how Ayurveda can help you, and if it is right fit for you or not, we can discover that. If you think that will work, you want to give a try, then you can book a consultation or we can explore what are the different options. I do the consultations as individual consultations as well as I do the Panchakarma whole Ayurvedic detoxification therapies, whole run the Panchakarma program. So yeah, looking forward for wonderful, be supportive on your health journey. But as Athena says, yes, taking action is important. Either whatever you can take away from today's small talk, try to implement that, see how that works, and we can go forward with that. All the
Awesome.
best for everyone. Yeah, thank you.
No, thank you. And all that information is going to be listed on the website, everything else. Angeles, your turn. Your final, and how people connect with you.
Thank you, Dr. Rad. You're amazing. Yes, so if anything you heard today resonates with you and you're feeling called, I definitely am available. Phone, you can Google my name, you can go on my website, angeliskerber.com. My work is very personal. You're welcome to just set up a consultation. It's a conversation, really, where I hear your story. And through that conversation, align your goals as well as the right functional medicine testing, not guessing. I have so many different tests I can offer, everything from food sensitivities to inflammation, not just the hormones in the gut. But if you have these symptoms and you haven't done anything, and you're curious and you want to further along your personal biology, basically, that's what I'm here for. I'd love to connect with you. As Dr. Rad mentioned, it's the links will be provided. But this is just really a step towards getting the energy back, getting your life back, that 3.0 version, right? We have all these technologies and these state-of-the-art tests. Why not, stop guessing and just, stop doing the TikTok and the Instagram followers and trying different supplements and think you're going to get there. Like, find out what your vitamin deficiencies are. Find out, what your dosha is, right? Figure out what your body likes and doesn't like. It helped me tremendously. It changed my life and half a century almost. So thank you again. And it's been amazing to be here and for the time that you put into this and invest in this great energy for the health and the future.
Well, thank you. Thank you for that. And I really truly want to acknowledge both of you, your energy, your heart, your growth mindedness, your open mindedness, all those things. I mean, that's, most of, what people are searching for today. And that alone is such a healing component. And so I love the way that you both are showing up. And so as I'm wrapping up this Doctor's Guide podcast or webinar, Unified Health Simplified, it's been a vision of mine. Actually, probably started when I was 21, when I decided to help humanity at a global level. And so in a way, I'm just getting started. Last 25 years, or I should say a little longer than that, probably 45 years, we're all in prep for this time and all the things that will evolve. But part of it is, it's time to think about health differently. And for both of you, that's not new. But for most of humanity, it is. And so that's why I do bring it up. And it is through leaders like yourself that will guide us to think about things differently. But I want people to leave with, these, thoughts. It's a return to sovereignty, which means you're in charge. It's your responsibility, your awareness, with the absolute guidance from the right people. It's remembrance. What if health wasn't something to be delivered, but something to be remembered? The sacredness of the design of our body and, the intelligence within the body. it's about coherence, and it's about community. And so these are some of the key words that I like to bring into this culture. And as we have these different conversations, not strictly medical. And again, I'm not knocking anything off the medical side. Conventional medicine is a key component, but the reality is there's a lot more that we can do beforehand. And that's why this platform is so important. And my mission is to have this in major cities throughout the United States within the next 5 or 10 years, together with all the other things, and to elevate, to legitimize, and to acknowledge the heroes out there like Archana and like Angelus. Thank you so much. And we'll be back next week. And all these will be on Spotify, as well as Apple, Amazon, iHeart, and other places as well. Thank you so much. And we'll see you next week.
Okay. Thank you, Dr.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.